Okay, I'm back and we're going to do another video on the custom home building tool in Custom Home Mapper. So we're going to insert our cartridge again, and what should happen is that the state of the room as we saved it last time should reload, and we'll get our coffee cup, our plant pot behind me, and our windows with the walls that we've set up. So again, we're starting to feel like we're in our wood cabin, and we're going to go a little bit further in this video. With walls and a few other settings. Maybe just before I get into the tweaking of the walls, I'm going to do a few quick fixes here. I'm going to put a few things down. One is an occlusion paddle because I want to place a square, this guy, which basically is like an object that I lay in my space, which tells the system to not render virtual objects behind it. And that's how I'm going to patch that floor section right there, just with a simple square that I've laid down in that area. And that gives me the fix I needed there. Let's add a few more plants just for the sake of it. While I'm here, I think there are some that have a plant pot built in. So I liked what's happening over here. I'm going to add this guy. I'll add another one over here. Let's toggle through the colors. If I press the button on the left menu, one of these X or Y buttons, then it's going to toggle through the 3 texture slots that we talked about earlier. Plants are a bit different from some of the physical objects like the plant pot, where it's not going to apply the textures that you've chosen. It's going to apply these preset plant textures, in which case it's a variety of colors. I'm just going to add a couple more, maybe a nice plant in the middle of this table. Now, like I said, the first one we're going to dive into, although there's not too much to say, is edit walls. As we showed earlier, this is where we can choose our wall texture. Yeah, if we wanted to have more of a 8-bit style wood, maybe this is the vibe we want. Looks nice with our plants. Not only, oh, there's a proper 8-bit wood. Okay, let's go back actually. I like the color that came from this one. Whoa, that's quite psychedelic. This guy. So more is going to cycle through them. But if I go to wall color, I actually get a kind of slider for each of these values. So I can, for example, remove the red from the wall, in which case it's actually one of the defining colors of that wood, is it was a really red one. So by pulling the red down a bit, I can kind of adjust it. And one of the big benefits to these adjustments is you can really get a proper blend of the natural lighting that exists in your room with the way it's reflected in colors. So I don't know, obviously, for each user, the way that the light falls in the room and the way the lights exist is all quite different. So that specific color tone and the way it connects to the walls, the way it's represented, you can really tweak it here and start to get a more believable blend. For example, I'm going to pull the red down still a little bit because my floors as a wood are much more brown than anything that we see here. So I don't want to go too far. But yeah, just mute it a bit so I get something a bit more realistic. Good. Yeah, that feels a bit nicer to me. The other pieces of this, I showed earlier how I could add a window by defining which of the wall sections I want to replace with an open segment. My other options are balcony. And what balcony does, it's a little bit different from window, where instead of cutting out a hole from it, it's just going to cut off the top half of it. So I'm really opening up the space even wider. Let's add another balcony here. Suddenly my kitchen is like quite nice. Has a great view, whereas it didn't have a view before. And optionally, there's also hide wall. If we wanted to take an entire section of wall, for example, this guy, and we wanted to replace it with something else, I could just remove it. And if I wanted to build beyond this, if I had more house or I wanted to cut into this room, one option would just be to hide the wall. What I'm going to do for the sake of it right now, because I want to have a reference to my real wall, I'm going to go back to that panel I used earlier, these occlusion panels, and I'm going to tell the system I'll use a rectangle here to define my real wall. And I'm going to place a few of them. Actually, let's go low because my real walls are a bit lower. And I'm actually just going to tell the system, yeah, this wall in particular, I want to see the real deal. Again, just laying those 2 rectangles down, and now I have a clear view of that wall. Everything else is this wood texture. So I kind of like that as a 50-50 mix right now. I'll keep this real, and I've got an option to peek into that room if I need to. Okay, that's about all I can say about edit walls. Let's go on to the next step. What I'm going to do is save it once again, and I'm going to continue the next video in a second with the SKYBOX menu.